What a classic Monday Night Football game. The Raiders against the Chargers. This is going to be a great old school rivalry on primetime TV. Who do you think I hope wins? Freaking let's go, man. Let's get into this one. This Top of Mind is brought to you by Chevrolet. Football season is here, and whether you're grinding through the week or gearing up for kickoff, there's one ride that's always game ready, the Chevy Silverado. Built for the hustle, ready for the game. Silverado is America's most dependable full-size truck. Head to Chevy.com to learn more and build your own Chevy Silverado. Okay, Monday Night Football live from Las Vegas. It's the 1-0 Las Vegas Raiders against the 1-0 LA Chargers. A battle of two great head coaches. We have Jim Harbaugh coming in here with the Chargers. What a job he has done. He inherited a team that was 5-12. They had some bad karma going on in the locker room, and last year he took them to the playoffs at 11-6. They're coming off a big win against the Kansas City Chiefs over in Brazil, and he gets to face Pete Carroll, the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, who just got his very first win with the Silver and Black. By the way, happy birthday, Pete Carroll. His 74th birthday. What a great birthday gift that would be if you could beat the Chargers. It was always a great gift for me whenever we beat these Chargers. Anyways, Coach Harbaugh has had a little extra time to prepare. Remember, they beat Kansas City on a Friday over in Brazil. I'm sure they did some advanced study on the Raiders. Harbaugh won a national title. We know that at Michigan. He was 5 yards away from winning a Super Bowl when he lost to his brother in that 49er Raven game. But Pete Carroll, he's one of four guys to have won an NCAA title and an NFL championship. He did it at USC. He did it, obviously, with the Seattle Seahawks. Paul Brown, Barry Switzer, Jimmy Johnson, and Pete Carroll, the only two guys to do it. Harbaugh's an offensive coach, ex-quarterback, hell of a football player himself, and Pete Carroll has always been on the cutting edge of defense. That's a big reason I think there's a rivalry between these two coaches. Remember, they go back, into the college world. When Pete Carroll was the head coach at USC, Harbaugh was over there at Stanford with Andrew Luck. They had some great battles. And then in the NFL, Harbaugh was with the 49ers. Pete Carroll was with the Seattle Seahawks. Carroll's Seahawks went 4-3 against Jim Harbaugh's 49ers, and they won that NFC Championship game in 2013. I think that's the game where Richard Sherman had that great interview after the game. That was awesome, man. These two guys, they compete. It's not that they don't dislike each other. They're cut from the same cloth, man. These guys love football more than I do, and that's saying something. And they love to compete, and they'll do anything within their power to get a win. I read it where Harbaugh said, Pete Carroll's like the kind of guy you send a Christmas card to, but you don't send it because you're too busy trying to clip his eyes out. These guys are just outstanding competitors, and that's what makes this game great. The rivalry, Raiders-Chargers. I learned it as a young coach with the Raiders back in 1998. The owner of the Raiders, the legendary Hall of Famer Al Davis, cut his teeth with the Chargers. Sid Gilman, the inventor of the modern passing game, had a young protege named Al Davis. Where do you think Al Davis learned about the vertical game? He learned it with Sid Gilman. And just think about the players that have competed in this rivalry. I mean, Lance Allworth, Fred Biletnikoff, the great Willie Brown. You look over there, Junior Seau, Rodney Harrison, Dan Fouts. How about Cliff Branch and the Stork, Ted Hendricks? I could go on and on. But the players and coaches that have competed in this old school rivalry need to be celebrated tonight as well. Let's get into this one. The Raiders are coming off an impressive 20-13 win against the Patriots. Geno Smith, in his first start with the Raiders in Chip Kelly's offense, he ripped New England, 362 yards passing. A lot of it were explosive plays. And the Chargers took down the Kansas City Chiefs 27-21 in Brazil. Herbert threw for 318 yards, 3 touchdowns. And it was a very aggressive game plan by offensive coordinator Greg Roman. And what I really liked about the game was they moved their right tackle from last year, Joe Alt, to left tackle. And of all the football I saw last week and studied, Joe Alt was the most impressive player I saw on tape. He threw a no-hitter, man, against the Chiefs. And it was one different guy after another. Dana, Chris Jones, Karlaftis. It didn't matter who went over there. This guy played his ass off, and I get to see Joe Alt maybe tonight against Max Crosby. That's the matchup I've been waiting for. Is there a home field advantage for the Raiders in Vegas? I mean, this Allegiant Stadium, I will say this, it is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. You should go see a game there. But the Raiders are just 19-23 at home. They went 2-6 at home last year. You know what really used to piss me off? You know, things do irritate me, but when we had to calm the crowd down at home, God, that's irritating. It seems like some of our fans must have sent their tickets to the other team. I don't understand it. But when you watch this game, you're going to see a lot of Charger fans there. That's just the way they roll now in Vegas. There's not a real distinct home field advantage. This is a fast track right on the strip of Las Vegas. Whoa, I got goosebumps thinking about Raiders-Chargers in Allegiant Stadium. This is the 12th meeting of these two teams on Monday Night Football. 12 meetings on Monday Night Football. The Chargers have won the last 4. Think about that. However, LA is only 1-3 in their last 4 primetime Monday night games. You know, some people don't like playing at night. They don't like playing on Thursday night. I was one of those guys. Boy, I was a pain in the ass to be around. In week 1 last year, the Chargers beat the Raiders in LA 22-10. It was an ugly game. J.K. Dobbins had 10 carries, 135 yards. He broke it loose late against the blitz to win the game. In the second game, it was week 18. The Raiders were missing Max Crosby. They were playing a young quarterback. The Chargers came to Vegas and ripped the Raiders 34-20. Justin Herbert went off 346 yards. And Quentin Johnston had a career day, 13 catches, 196 yards. And the Chargers won. Justin Herbert is 6-3 all-time against the Raiders. He's thrown 18 touchdown passes and 2 interceptions. 6-3 all-time against the Raiders. I know somebody that got him twice. Do you guys? We got Geno Smith against Justin Herbert. The guy that gets no respect is Geno Smith. You know, the Raiders traded a 3rd-round pick in the 2025 draft to get a 2-time Pro Bowl quarterback. He's been with Pete Carroll 5 years in Seattle, so he understands Coach Carroll's process. In 2024, remember, Geno Smith completed over 70% of his passes, 4,300 plus yards, and the Seahawks went 10-7. Hard to believe they would allow him to leave the building for a 3rd-round pick. But last year in Seattle, Geno took 50 sacks. He did have 15 interceptions and led the NFL with 4 picks in the red zone. So maybe the sacks and the interceptions had something to do with Seattle making a change. But if they didn't have Geno Smith last year, I don't think Seattle would have won a freaking game. I think he's a hell of a player. And since 2022, just for everybody out there, this man has 12,588 yards, and that is 4th in the NFL, Geno Smith. He also has 72 touchdown passes. That's 8th. And he's completing 68% of his passes. So don't underestimate Geno Smith. But what I love about Smith the most is if you look at his statistics in a dome over the last 10 games that he's been in a dome, pretty good. A lot of his troubles, I think, came in Seattle. I mean, hell, it's windy and raining and ball's wet. Shit. Not a lot of guys can play in that weather. But Smith is on target, I think, to take off. And last week was a good indication against the Patriots. Now, Justin Herbert, we all remember last year he was beat up. He had a tough year, man. They struggled as an offensive line. They struggled to run the ball. They struggled in their receiving core. And the guy had multiple injuries. But he still had a hell of a year. 3,870 yards passing, 23 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. 3 interceptions with over 500 attempts. It's only been done one time. Aaron Rodgers in 2018 threw 2 picks in 597 attempts. That just goes to show you the character, the reliability, and the toughness of Justin Herbert. But then he got into the playoffs, you see. Playoffs! And they played poorly. They got beat 32-12. I think he had 4 interceptions in a playoff game. And he was pissed off. I know he was the whole offseason. I heard rumors coming out of Charger land. He was in there the whole offseason, banging on the drum, working, stamping his work every day. And this new leadership, man, this guy showed up against the Chiefs, and he looked awesome. He looked healthy, and they had some new talent around him. It was fun to watch. This is one tough guy. He's only missed 4 starts in his career. He's had ribs. He's had a torn labrum. He's had a foot problem, plantar fascia, high ankle sprain. He's going to be there Monday night, Raider Nation, and he's got a supporting cast that's pretty good. This game features 2 young guns at running back. Think about this. The Raiders over the last 2 years are last in the NFL in rushing the football. They only average 85 yards a game and 3.7 yards a carry. So they went out and they got Ashton Jeanty with the 6th overall pick. We had Ashton Jeanty at the Super Bowl. He listens to Migos, you know.
What about like music? I mean, come on, give me something that fans need to know behind the scenes.
Music, more modern day, they broke up, but Migos, you know what I'm saying? You know about some Migos?
Put them on my list.
I love him. He had 2,600 yards rushing in 1 year at Boise. He's a great receiver. He caught over 60 passes. And when you look at his work at Boise, did you know he had 126 missed tackles? He forced that. That's how quick he is. He also led the nation in yards after contact. So even though he looks small, he ain't small. He's short. He's 5'9", but he's 215 pounds. He can knock your ass off. That's the 49ers safety I saw him truck in the preseason. Good receiver. What he did surprisingly well in his debut in New England is he picked up some blitzes. I mean, he got a corner blitz over here. He scanned across and picked up a linebacker over there. He knows who to block. He knows how to block, and he showed me he wants to block. Yeah, he only had 19 carries, 38 yards, but he did have a really great touchdown, his first of his career. I think you're going to love what you see from this kid on Monday night. His star is on the rise. And for the Chargers, they draft Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina, back-to-back 1,000-yard season. He's a big man, 6'2", 220, and he's a versatile, complete back. I love Hampton. I mean, he had 2,000 yards of all-purpose yards at North Carolina, catching, rushing, and he is very physical. He had 15 carries, 48 yards in 50 snaps against the Kansas City Chiefs. The guy runs hard. He's going to be a heck of a player. They have also signed Najee Harris, a 230-pound back who had 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers. How would you like to be the running back coach running out there with Hampton and Harris? Whew, pretty good. I like it. Fucking A. You know, Pete Carroll wants to run the ball, so does Harbaugh. That's a philosophy these two men share. In Seattle, Pete Carroll had Marshawn Lynch for 4,000-yard seasons. Chris Kaysen had 2 1,000-yard seasons. Then he had Kenneth Walker and mark it down. Jeanty will get 1,000 yards for the Raiders. And Hampton, he's going to get 300 carries if he stays healthy. So both of these guys have workhorse, I think, mentalities and abilities. This game features 2 really cool linebackers. I want you to watch number 0 for the LA Chargers. I call him Groundhog Henley, because every day is the same with this guy. He finds a guy with the ball and he knocks the shit right out of you. I mean, this guy's awesome. He had 147 tackles last year for the LA Chargers. Deion Henley, Washington State, 3rd-round pick. He's a star, man. This guy's a sideline-to-sideline cat. Never comes off the field, man. Not in their nickel package, not in their dime package. This guy's something else, man. And for the Las Vegas Raiders, we're seeing the reinvention of Devin White. Devin White was a great linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers during their World Championship season under Bruce Arians. I mean, he's all pro. He has like 8 or 9 sacks, 150 tackles. He goes to Philadelphia, he doesn't play. He goes to the Houston Texans, he's kind of a role player. Guess what? He gets with Pete Carroll and Patrick Graham, and he gets into Raider Nation, and he's reinvented himself. You should see his mission statement last week against the Patriots. He had 11 tackles. I mean, Landon Roberts, their starting linebacker who wears the green dot, gets hurt, And I see Devin White getting across in the sideline, running back onto the field, telling everybody what to do. And then he makes about 10 or 12 plays that you go, holy shit, that's Devin White. I can't wait to see these two linebackers. Both of these teams have excellent place kickers. I love Daniel Carlson. I was there with Carlson. He is outstanding. He's in a contract year. He made 87.2% of his field goals in his career, 34 out of 40 last year, and 7 out of 11 were bombs. This guy can kick it from distance. They also have a great punter, Pro Bowler A.J. Cole. My man, 48.7 gross punt. That's second in the NFL history, man. They got two great kickers. And the Chargers, they got Cameron Dicker. Do you know he's 93 out of 99? And when he kicks his first field goal, he becomes the all-time most accurate field goal kicker in NFL history. You got to have 100 kicks to qualify, Malasak. So when he kicks this, whether he hits it or misses it, he surpasses Justin Tucker as the #1 all-time kicker. And it's a credit to him. Injuries to keep an eye on here tonight. For the Chargers, Denzel Perryman, who went to the Pro Bowl with the Raiders when I was coaching there, he is a hell of a player, but he got a high ankle sprain last week. He's probably out of the game. And that's a big deal because Junior Colson, a draft choice out of Michigan a couple years ago, he's already on IR. So the Chargers are light at linebacker. And keep an eye on Elijah Molden. Very good safety. He wears number 2. Former Tennessee Titan did not practice Friday with a hamstring. That's a concern for the LA Chargers. And for the Raiders, Geno Smith, he's going to be fine. He has had some lingering hamstring issues. Let's hope that's okay. We got to keep an eye on Brock Bowers. This is a huge concern. The superstar tight end left the game last week with a knee. He has not practiced all week. That's a real concern because the Raiders go to him, obviously, in every situation. And they play a lot of 12 personnel, which is one back and how many tight ends, Jake? Two. Excellent. Elandon Roberts, starting inside linebacker, physical badass, hurt his elbow, left the game. He did return to practice. I would be shocked if he played, but deep down I'd be shocked if he didn't. This is one of the all-time tough linebackers we have in football, and they need Roberts on the field. We've also seen starting right guard Jackson Powers Johnson show up on the injury list with a concussion. Not quite sure of his status. So you have your star tight end, your starting signal caller on defense, and obviously your starting right guard. We got to keep an eye on these things before we do anything. Let's get to it. This offense and defensive matchup is brought to you by Fox 1. On Fox 1, you can stream your favorite live sports. So you never miss that "did you see that" moment? That means Fox NFL Sundays are on Fox 1. It's NFL Sundays, all streaming live, the way it was meant to be watched. I can't stand spoilers. I got to see it live, man. Start your 7-day free trial today. Offers are subject to change. Go to Fox 1 for complete terms and conditions. Okay, the Chargers offense against the Raider defense. Some really interesting matchups here. I start with offensive coordinator Greg Roman of the Chargers. He's been with Coach Harbaugh a long time. He was with him at the 49ers, with him at Stanford. They have a very physical, unique offense. They can play you a lot of different ways. And then Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator for the Raiders, he comes from New England. He has Bill Belichick roots. Funny thing is, when you watch the Raiders play defense this year, they're running a new scheme, man. They're running a 4-3 scheme. Hell, they're running a 4-down scheme with 3 linebackers. They got 57 Pratt, Eichenberger's in there, Devin White. Then they play the same Seattle front they played for years. I mean, they're shaded nose. They got a 3 technique, a head-up 6 technique. They got Pratt on the line of scrimmage on the weak side, 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers. So New England probably showed up and said, what the hell's going on, Patrick Graham? And then the Raiders are looking at Greg Roman, and they're seeing plays and players that weren't there last year. Keenan Allen is a go-to receiver for the Chargers again. Hell, they got 2 new running backs. They got rid of their left tackle, Slater. He's on IR. They put Joe Alt over there. Becton, this big freaking right guard, is there from Philadelphia. So everybody's kind of reacting to some new things. But the Chargers under Greg Roman have always been hard to prepare for. Smash mouth, big boy shoulder pads, you better be ready to go. And they have the play action passes off of these runs that can really sting you. The run and the play action pass go hand in hand. Last year, the Chargers used play action pass a lot. 33% of their passes were play action passes. That's second in the NFL. Big part of what they do. Justin Herbert, in his first 4 years, he threw 39 passes a game. That's like an NFL record. But last year under Greg Roman and Coach Harbaugh, he threw 29 passes a game. So it was a bigger commitment to run the football. Let's see what they do this year, because they came out throwing against the Chiefs last week. They had 2 beautiful, long, sustained drives to start the second half. And it was impressive, and they had balance. They must have a Max Crosby plan. I know Joe Alt, what he put on tape last week is Pro Bowl worthy. He was elite. I'm telling you, elite last week against the Chiefs. And Max Crosby's going to be up on the right side. He's going to be going up against Trey Pipkins, who takes over for Joe Alt, because Joe Alt is replacing Rashawn Slater at left tackle. So I think Pipkins has got to be ready for Crosby. And I will say this, they will put a back over there to chip Crosby. They'll put a tight end over there to nudge Crosby. They're going to go all out to stop Max Crosby. And when they do that, they better be alert for this TE stunt. The tackle loops outside and Crosby comes howling in the A-gap. He's awesome. So that'll be interesting. What the Raiders do with Max Crosby, how they can get him free, how they can help him ruin this game. There's a lot more motion in this Charger offense. Hell, I'm watching these passes last week against the Chiefs, and on 80% of these passes, there's some kind of motion. They're doing a really good job helping these receivers get free releases. They're forcing the defenses early in the season to rotate and communicate. Keep an eye on number 44 at home, Scott Matlock. He's got this big red beard. He comes into the game, I think he's 295 pounds. He played defensive line in college. And just like John Harbaugh does in Baltimore with Patrick Ricard, Jim Harbaugh has this beast. He comes in there, he'll be a fullback standing right in front of these big backs. Then he'll be a tight end. He'll be an H-back crossing the formation. He can kick out, he can lead up in there. He gives the Chargers, boom, girth in the hole. He's a physical guy, and there will be some collisions, trust me, in the Charger-Raider game tonight. There'll be some big collisions. Last year, the Achilles heel of the Chargers, if you ask everybody, our receivers aren't that good. Bullshit. Bullshit they are. Quentin Johnson, he just went off against the Chiefs. He had 2 touchdowns. He's had some drops. He's been criticized. I credit Coach Harbaugh and his staff for staying with this young guy. He's big, he's fast, he's catching the ball away from his body, and he is a big-time factor down the field. Ladd McConkey, what a slot receiver he is. He broke Charger records last year for rookie catches and yards. He did some things last year Charlie Joyner never did, and he's in the Hall of Fame. This is a badass. He wears number 15. And then they get Keenan Allen back. If there's one Charger other than Phillip Rivers that really pissed me off, it was Keenan Allen. This guy's a great receiver. Do you know he caught his 60th touchdown pass last week as a Charger? He's second all-time leading receiver for the Chargers with 911 catches behind Antonio Gates. So now you got these 3 receivers. They got some speed in the bullpen. They got Keandre Lambert-Smith in the 5th round. He comes out of Auburn, Penn State. All he did was catch touchdown passes in the preseason. He could fly, man. They also took Trey Harris, a big-time wideout in the 2nd round from Ole Miss. They haven't even made their presence felt. And they got this guy, number 12, Darius Davis. He gets in the game and does jet sweeps. He's like a gadget guy. They got a lot of good receivers. And Will Dissly returns at tight end. And then they get this Tyler Conklin. He comes in, has 2 catches for 50 yards. So Herbert has an offensive line that played pretty damn good against the Chiefs. He has a running game now, and he has a lot of guys to throw to, so the Raiders got to be ready for that. I would be ready for some up-tempo offense if I were the Raiders. Last year, they had a quick substitution and a big touchdown play. Greg Roman has a lot of twists, a lot of tempo changes you got to be ready for. And with the injury last week to Landon Roberts, perhaps the communication of this Raider defense is stymied a little bit, and maybe Coach Roman wants to put some stress on him. We'll see. The Raider defense led by Patrick Graham, what a job he's done. I mean, he's done a hell of a job implementing a system that he learned with the Patriots and tweaking it to more of a 4-3 look. They do a lot of sugaring with their linebackers. Ask me what that is, Jake.
What is that?
You're going to see the linebackers up there on the line of scrimmage like they're blitzing. Whew! They're coming right up in your cage, man. And sometimes they will and sometimes they won't. But it really affects the blocking scheme. Sometimes you're a guard, you're like, holy shit, I got to get that guy. And then you make a mistake. But they do a lot of moving around with their linebackers. They came into the season with big questions on all three levels of their defense. A lot of new players on the D-line, a lot of new linebackers, and a whole new secondary. And they've changed their scheme. So what did they do last week against New England to shut them down? 13 points, 4.9 yards per play, 3.3 yards per rush. They had 4 sacks and an interception, and they went up to New England, kicked their ass. I kind of like that, because that tuck rule still pisses me off bad. But they did a great job. The scheme is different. The players are different. They play a lot of zone, and they lull you to sleep. You can ask New England. It's zone, it's zone. They look like they're blitzing, they're not, but they won't disappoint you. They'll come after you with an all-out blitz, and they'll end your day. So there is a lot that Herbert's got to prepare for as well. Last week, what impressed me the most was the effort that these guys played with. It's typical Pete Carroll football. A lot of energy. Guys get opportunities. He's not afraid to play anybody. This guy Kelly made his first start at corner. This new safety, Isaiah Pullum. Some of these guys are playing really a lot of football. Devin White has reinvented himself. They're taking advantage of their opportunity. Carroll gets these guys to cut it loose, Jake. You got me? Yep. Don't play tentative. You see it, hit it. If it's wiggling, hit it. That's what I liked about the way they played. It was a 4-man rush for the most part last week, and the Raiders did a good job taking advantage of the inexperienced Patriot offensive line. They mix a lot of 3-deep zone in with some split safety looks. I will say this, keep an eye on the communication of the Raiders because there's a lot of motion, there's a lot of shifts in this Greg Roman offense. And I don't know who's wearing a green dot if it's not a Landon Roberts. So you're going to see the Raider defense having to reset and communicate. That could be a problem. Let's take a look at the matchups. Okay, the Chargers offensive line. Let's take a good look at it. That's where it all starts. Joe Alt is now the left tackle. He takes over for Rashawn Slater, and what a job he did. I had 41 different pass protections last week, and he had no pressures. I've never seen that. He was a no-hitter. I'm going to call him Nolan Ryan Alt. This guy's a badass. The left guard is Zion Johnson, former first-round pick, good player. Bozeman is still the center. He wears 75. And they've added Mekhi Becton, a monster at right guard. He's wearing number 73, the ex-Philadelphia Eagle. He missed 3 weeks of training camp. He had some injuries that were undisclosed, and he was ill before the game against Kansas City. So keep an eye on Becton, his health. They have Jamari Sawyer, a backup guard, number 68, ready to go. And the right tackle is Trey Pipkins, who's surprisingly come off the bench and done a nice job, at least in week 1. And up here for the Raiders, you're going to see Max Crosby, number 98. I'll tell you about Max Crosby. This guy is one of the great effort players in the history of football. Forget about production, man. He's got 60.5 sacks, third all-time with the Raiders. I mean, Greg Townsend had 107.5 and Howie Long had 84. That's etched in my mind forever. Crosby since 2019, Clay has had 24 games that he has played where he's never come off the field. 100% of the plays, man. And in the defensive line of the NFL, there's only been one guy do it 3 times. He's done it 24 times. So what does that tell you about his effort? He's an excellent run defender. He's a smart football player, but his effort, his passion to play, and his football character is out of sight. I wish I had a nickname for him. He reminds me of Ted Hendricks, the Stork. He's a superb football player. He's a game changer, and he's going to see Pipkins, the right tackle of the Chargers, most of the night. I do like the other defensive end in passing situations. Keep an eye on Malcolm Kuntz. He went to the University of Buffalo, same school as Khalil Mack. Kuntz had 8 sacks 2 years ago, but he got hurt before the first game last year and missed the season. Kuntz is a hell of a player. Look for number 51 Kuntz in passing situations. They use a bunch of guys at defensive end. You'll see Tyree Wilson, number 9. Former high pick in the first round of the Raiders. He can play end or defensive tackle in their sub package. You also see this Tonka Hemingway guy, 4th round pick. He's out of South Carolina. He does a good job. The other guy that plays a lot is number 96, Jonah Laulu. I like watching him play. You see different people playing defensive end in their base and in their sub package. But if you're Joe Alt and Trey Pipkins, you better deal with Crosby, you better deal with Kuntz, and look out for some reinforcements throughout the game because the Raiders are playing a lot of guys. And inside, the Raiders have this Adam Butler, number 69. He was an ex-New England Patriot, ex-Miami Dolphin. He's been around the league. He has a new berth with the Raiders as well. He can rush the passer in the sub. He's a good run defender. Last week, the Patriots tried to throw a screen to Henderson, their young back. He sniffed it out, smelled it out, stuffed it. I loved it. They also made a trade. General Manager John Spytek from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is calling the shots. They made a trade with Philadelphia to get Thomas Booker. Keep an eye on this guy, number 99. He makes some pursuit plays that are really impressive. Between Booker and Butler, they have 2 really good defensive tackles. You'll even see Tyree Wilson, number 9, come in some passing situations. Pretty impressive. So that'll be some key matchups up front. The linebackers for the Raiders, Jermaine Pratt, who led the Cincinnati Bengals in tackles last year, number 57. He is a big, old-school looking linebacker. He got down the field in coverage against Hunter Henry a couple times last week. They'll put him on the line of scrimmage at times. And Pratt is a load in the middle of the defense. Devin White, his mission statement is on film last week in New England. This guy was sideline to sideline, passionate football player, great playing speed, and he really, I think, ignited this defense. The other linebacker you're going to see quite a bit is Jamal Adams, number 33. Is he a linebacker? Is he a big nickel? He was with the Lions last year. He's been with Pete Carroll in Seattle. They use him strategically. He'll be one of those guys that blitzes, trust me, 5 or 6 times. He is an excellent between-the-tackle, briar patch physical football player. And Eichenberger, Tommy Eichenberger, number 44, will play a significant role if Landon Roberts can't play. Eichenberger from Ohio State, a mid-round draft choice, instinctive football player. We have to see the health of Landon Roberts. But these linebackers are going to see counter plays. The tight end is going to cross-sift. They're going to see a lot of play action, a lot of schemes they got to smell out. And against this Charger offense, it would help the Raiders significantly if Roberts played. The receiver matchups are interesting. At left corner for the Raiders is Eric Stokes, number 22. He signed a 1-year deal in the offseason, and he's out here playing left corner, and I think he's going to see quite a bit of Keenan Allen. We've talked about Allen already. Allen still has the great subtleties of how to get open. He can change speed. He can stop on a dime. He can make every route look the same, but they're different. And he has very good quickness in and out of the cuts. And he can catch the ball with his eyes closed. This guy's really good. In the slot is Ladd McConkey. I mean, he does a lot of damage, man. Crossing routes, corner routes. This guy can read the middle of the field. He can separate against man, sit down against zone. This guy is clutch and ultra quick. He ran a short shuttle at the combine. It was so fast I missed it. This guy is really quick. And who is the nickel going to be for the Raiders? I don't know a lot about Darnay Holmes. I know he played at UCLA. He played 22 snaps last week, formerly with the New York Giants. But McConkey against Holmes could be a problem for the Raiders. I just don't know much about Holmes. And on the outside is the emerging Quentin Johnson. 2 touchdown catches last week. You got to give this to Johnston. He's got mental toughness. People are booing his ass. Yeah, he can't catch. He dropped passes at TCU. Every time he drops a pass, hey, he can't catch. Bullshit. This guy's a problem, man. He's big. He can go get the 50-50 ball. He can run away from you, and he can break tackles, man. And over here is one of my favorite Raiders on this team. His name is Blue Kelly. Caillou Blue Kelly. You know, we won a Super Bowl in Tampa. I'm not going to get into it, but our starting corner was Brian Kelly. This is his son. This guy comes from great genes, man. Number 36. What a story Blue Kelly is, okay? He started his first game last week against the New England Patriots. He didn't care who he covered. He was right up in your grill, man, whether it was Boutte or Diggs or whoever the Patriots had. I love him. He made a couple good tackles. He had a pass interference on 4th and 1. I think it was a bullshit call. I think he made a great play on that. Here's a 5th-round pick. Think about this, young corners. He goes to Baltimore, he gets cut. He doesn't quit. He ends up going to Washington. He gets cut. Goes to Green Bay, gets cut. Goes to Seattle with Pete Carroll on the practice squad, gets released. He goes to the Raiders, he's on the practice squad. Guess what? He's starting at right corner. Wouldn't you love to see Blue Kelly make a couple big plays in prime time? I like his play style, man. He's physical, he's confident, and he's tough. That'll be a good matchup. Who covers the tight ends of the Chargers? Will Dissly is a blocking tight end, but he had a career year for catches last year because their starting tight end a year ago was hurt. But Dissly can functionally get down the seams. He can block that C gap on these strong side runs. He's tough. And Tyler Conklin was a free agent pickup that can block and also run routes and catch. He had 2 catches for 50 yards. So these 2 safeties of the Raiders bear down. The Vegas Raiders have 2 really good safeties. They brought in Jeremy Chinn, former 2nd-round pick with Carolina. Chinn goes to the Washington Commanders. You talk about a Ginsu knife, man. Yeah, he had 117 tackles. But shit, he plays dime linebacker. Then he's the slot nickel corner. Then he's over here playing free safety. Then he's a strong safety. And he is big, man. He plays near the line of scrimmage a lot. 6'3", 220 pounds. He looks like a Raider. Over here is number 20, Isaiah Polamau. He is 6'4", 210 pounds, man. He had 89 tackles and 5 PBUs last year. I'm watching the Raiders because I love the Raiders, you know. Last year, our starting safety, Epps, gets hurt. They bring in Isaiah Polamau. I don't know much about him. All I know is he's Troy Polamalu's nephew. So you think he's got good genes? Just like Kelly. So does Polamau. He's got some genes. The guy comes in, starter, does a great job. Last week he had an interception on the opening drive of the second half. He had a big hit, 7 tackles. These 2 safeties are better than you think. So we have some great matchups here on the perimeter. It's all going to start and end up front, but it's these 2 running backs for the Chargers. I can't wait to find out how good Omarion Hampton is. He's wearing number 8, 6'2", 220 pounds, and they have a big fresh horse, Najee Harris, the ex-Pittsburgh Steeler, backing them up. So they are going to try to pound the ball and run some play-action passes. Let's see what happens. If we have a 4th quarter pass rush situation, a must-have-it situation, the Raiders are going to send out Max Crosby and Malcolm Kuntz on the end, and you're going to see Tyree Wilson and Adam Butler on the inside. These are their 4 guys I think they trust the most in a go-get-it, must-have-it situation. Okay, the Raider offense against the Charger defense. This will be fun. The Raider offense is led by Chip Kelly. Great coach, man. Was the head coach at Oregon, former head coach of the Eagles and 49ers. Chip Kelly won the national championship as the OC last year at The Ohio State. You know, a lot of people think of Chip Kelly and they think of no-huddle offense, turbo tempo. Because at Oregon, I remember doing the stat work myself. They averaged 75 plays a game at Oregon. They would just get up and go fast. He tried to pull that off, and he did at Philadelphia for a while. But now, when you watch Chip Kelly at Ohio State last year, they only averaged 61 plays a game. So he can play fast. He can also slow it down and operate at a normal tempo. But you got to be ready for everything. Last week, it was an impressive debut for Coach Kelly. They had 9 explosive plays in the passing game, man. 20 yards or more, 9 chunk plays against the Patriots. That'll probably piss off Portnoy. But that was impressive. The Patriots chose to play aggressive on defense. They blitzed 47% of the time, and Geno Smith and Chip Kelly made them pay. They created some chunk plays in one-on-one situations. But this week, I think the Raiders are going to have an opposite approach because Charger defensive coordinator Jesse Minter, they play a lot of zone, man. They don't play a lot of man-to-man and all-out blitz coverages. The offensive line of the Raiders is the same at tackle. I still see Colton Miller, who's been there a long time at left tackle, and DJ Glaze, number 71, is at right tackle. But they have really reshuffled the inside portion of their offensive line. So offensive line coach Brennan Carroll, he has reshuffled the inside 3. They've got Dylan Parham playing left guard. Parham played right guard last year. They have a new center, Jordan Meredith, number 61. And the right guard is Jackson Powers Johnson, a guy they had hoped would be their long-term center. But Jackson Powers Johnson played right guard last week. He is in the concussion protocol, I believe. Will he or won't he play? So they do have some reshuffling going on, and they had some problems last week at times. They gave up 4 sacks to the Patriots. That's got to improve. The Raiders played 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends. How many receivers, Clay?
2.
The most of any team in the league last year. And they're using a lot of 12 personnel this year. 37% of the time against the Patriots, the Raiders were in 12 personnel. Wouldn't you be if you had Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer? Yes, you would. Chip Kelly loves to run the ball. Everybody thinks he throws it and throws it. He loves to run the football, and I'm sure Ashton Genty's going to get a lot of looks in this game. He also has some nasty play-action passes. They'll be in the pistol. They'll be in the offset shotgun. They do as good a job as anybody throwing the ball off play pass from the gun. We must monitor Brock Bowers' health. His health is a huge concern in this game. I mean, he's a joker deluxe. Not only did he catch 112 passes and nearly 1,200 yards and have all the records that he smashed, he can line up in the slot, man. 55% of the time he lined up in the slot. So he has the quickness and the decisiveness and the trust to run slot receiver type routes, man. Then they line him up out wide like a wideout. Almost 20% of the time he can run a full route tree out there. And then you bring him into the core where he's a standard tight end playing right next to the tackle. This guy is so versatile and he's such a go-to clutch receiver. If he can't play, good Lord, it puts a damper on my evening. Last 2 games against the Chargers, Bowers has had 10 catches, 108 yards in those 2 games, 1 touchdown reception. So if you're into the fantasy Brock Bowers world, look into his injury carefully, and obviously just note that he has 10 for 108 in 2 games. Ashton Genty, I know the statistics weren't good, 19 carries, 38 yards in the first game. They're going to keep pounding him. I thought he rushed a couple of his cuts. I think he'll be a little bit more patient, and I think be a lot less blitzing this week from the Chargers. Perhaps he'll get some better looks. Other players to look for in this Raider attack. If Bowers can't go, Jacoby Myers is a badass. Jacoby Myers, you know, he wants a new contract. There were rumors he was going to hold out of camp. He didn't hold out. He went out to New England, his former team, and he kicked their ass, man. And he's playing for a new contract. I love number 16, Myers. He's going to get a lot more looks if Bowers doesn't play. Keep an eye on this Dante Thornton kid. He's wearing number 10, 6'4", fast. Former Tennessee Volunteer. He won the game with a 50-50 catch late against the Patriots. They are going to throw a couple bombs to this guy every week. And I think this guy's got rare vertical talent. They also have Trey Tucker. He's this number 1. He's their slot receiver. He's powerfully built, fast, man. He can come out of his cuts. You'll see him on jet sweeps. They'll do a lot of creative things with Tucker. So look for some of these weapons to emerge even more if Bowers isn't 100%. The Chargers are led by Jesse Minter. He came to the Chargers with Coach Harbaugh from Michigan. And you know, he inherited a defense in 2023. They were 24th in scoring defense, 23.5 points a game. The attitude wasn't great. Remember, the Raiders beat them like 62-10. It was ugly. But you know, last year, who had the number 1 scoring defense, Clay? Who was it? Who was it? The Chargers. 17.7 points a game. They kick people's ass, man. They play a 3 safety defense. They love having Derwin James in the game near the line of scrimmage on every snap. He is a hell of a football player. We know that. Elijah Molden and Alohi Gilman. These 3 safeties are on the field all the time. Keep an eye on Molden. He had that hamstring and he didn't practice on Friday. But they can do a lot of different things coverage-wise, blitz-wise, with this kind of speed on the field. They play a lot of zone. You'll see some 4-deep zone, 3-deep zone, split safety coverages. They mix in some pressure man-to-man coverages. They use a 4-man rush a lot because they can get home. They've got this guy, number 45. He's one of my favorite NFL players, Tuli Tuipulotu. Say it, Jake.
Tuli Tuipulotu.
Say it better than that.
Tuipulotu.
I love this guy, man. Number 45. He can play inside or out, outside linebacker or end. And they have Khalil Mack, one of the great pass rushers in football. He's still, if you watch the second play of the game against the Chiefs, he can get off blocks and he can really separate and make tackles at a flash. So they have the firepower to get home. They have this candy bar green team, I call it, where they tell Khalil Mack, okay, at the end of the game, if you find a candy bar on the offensive line, go take a big bite out of them. And last week at the end of the game, he went right over the left guard of the Chiefs, their first-year starter in there, and he edged them and made a couple big plays. Look for Khalil Mack to go find who they think is the weak link in the Raider offensive line. That's where he'll be in some key passing situations. The Chargers lost some pretty good players up front now. Joey Bosa's gone. Morgan Fox is gone. Poona Ford is gone. They even lost Christian Fulton, a pretty good corner. They're all gone. But they brought in this Deshaun Hand, number 91. I'm going to get into him in a minute. But this Deshaun Hand, he's been around, you know. Played at Alabama, played for the Dolphins, played for the Lions. I think he was with the Titans. But somehow, he's a better Charger than he's ever been before. He's rushing a passer. He's getting off blocks. He's splitting double teams. Shit, watch the 5th play of the game. I'm like, who is that number 91? Deshaun Hand. So he's taking advantage of his new life with the Chargers. They've also brought in 2 new corners. Dante Jackson is starting at corner, wearing number 26. They brought in the former Commander, Benjamin St-Juste. He hasn't really made his presence felt yet, but they've added some new players in this 2025 Charger defense. They have to deal with Bowers. They did a good job last year limiting Bowers to 54 yards per game. We don't know what Brock Bowers' status is, but they are going to do a great job communicating, boxing him, matching him in and out, doing some things to take him away and make somebody else win this game. I thought the Chargers showed a couple blitzes against Kansas City last week that were uncommon. One of them was a corner blitz, and if you watch the long touchdown pass to Kelsey on the little block and go, they were light in coverage and it backfired. So I don't know if the Chargers want to do as much of that exotic blitzing in this ball game, but keep an eye on Jesse Minter. This coach does a hell of a job. Who had the #1 red zone defense in football last year, Jake? The Chargers. 45% touchdowns, only 18 touchdowns against them in the red zone. Last week, the Chiefs were 1 for 3, and the only touchdown the Chiefs got was a broken play. I mean, Mahomes is standing back there, Khalil Mack is unblocked, and somehow Mahomes scored. But they are great on the red zone. They're outstanding on third down, #5 in the NFL, 35%. They held the Chiefs to 5 for 14, 35% in Brazil. Excellent defensive team, speed, tacklers, great player in James, great linebacker in Henley, and they have Tuli Pulotu, #45, raising hell. Let's take a look at these matchups. The offensive line of the Raiders we've talked about. Veteran Colt Miller, DJ Glaze is in his second year at right tackle. Dylan Parham at left guard and Jordan Meredith at center. We must keep an eye on this right guard. We don't know what Jackson Powers Johnson's status is in this game. He's new to the right guard position. He did give up a sack and had a personal foul last week. We got to keep an eye on who this is. It could be Alex Kappa, the ex-Cincinnati Bengal that was brought in here to play. This might be his calling card right here at right guard. And for the Chargers, Khalil Mack, we don't need to introduce him much more. He's an excellent player. He was a great Raider, a great Chicago Bear, and he's a hell of a Charger. It'll be Tuli Pulotu at the other end, and inside, they have really good players. We've talked about Deshaun Hand. They also have #90, Tyre Tart. He's like a fly swatter. Poof, poof, poof. He batted down 3 balls last week. I mean, Mahomes throws it. This guy's got quickness, man. 3 batted balls in one game, #90 Tart. You better finish your pass protection if you're a center or a guard. They also have Tito Ogbonna, #93. He's played a lot of football for the Chargers. He's active and he's a very solid player. So they have an arsenal of guys that can play up front. Keep an eye on #50, Caleb Murphy. #50, Murphy fills in for Khalil Mack. He had a couple nice, nifty moves off the edge last week. And Bud Dupree, he's still around, man. He wears #48. It might be the ugliest number I've ever seen on a defensive end, but he's big, he's strong, he's got a power rush. He had 6 sacks last year, just like Khalil Mack. So Dupree, Tui Pulotu, and Mack give him 3 powerful pass rushers with some good quality players inside. And let's keep an eye on Ashton Jeanty, the #6 overall pick against this superstar linebacker, Deion Henley, who had 10.5 tackles for loss, 147 tackles. He's a wrecking machine. Now, without Denzel Perryman, the Chargers are going to turn to Troy Dye. He's been around. He's a special teams captain for the Chargers. He's had 13 starts in 6 years. So #43 Dye, backup linebacker, is going to play a lot. Maybe Jeanty can get out of the backfield and get some one-on-one situations against Dye, who is a good player, but let's see how good he is. They are lacking depth. They are already missing Perryman. They're missing Colson, a good young player. So keep an eye on Delshawn Phillips, Marlowe Wax. They got a couple young Charger linebackers that got to be ready to go. And the receiver DB matchups are interesting. At right corner, it'll be #29, Tarheeb Still. I mean, Malasik has this guy's jersey. He's a hell of a player, made a name for himself with the interceptions against Cousins last year in Atlanta. But Tarheeb Still will play right corner, and when they go to their dime package, he'll come inside and play in the slot. But Still will play in the base, and I look for him to get some matchups against this rookie wideout, Dante Thornton from Tennessee. 6'5", 4'3", 40. I mean, this guy averaged 25 yards a catch in college. He didn't catch a ton of passes, but 6 of them went for over 50 yards. He can haul ass. Over here, it's Jacoby Myers. I love him. He can play in the slot. He can play out wide. He's a pro. He'll block your ass off and compete until the end. It doesn't matter what the score is. This guy's an NFL stud, #16. And keep an eye on Dante Jackson, #26. He's new to the Chargers. He had a couple nice plays last week. Don't be surprised if you see a double move. This guy has really aggressive trigger, man. He tries to jump patterns. He's very confident, but I think they will try to hit a double move here. When they go to their dime package, still goes inside, and they'll bring in number 20, Cam Hart from Notre Dame. So in dime situations, you'll see Cam Hart and Dante Jackson on the outside, and you'll see Tarheeb still go to the inside. But it's good secondary play on the outside for the Chargers. And these two safeties are very good players. Number 32, Alohi Gilman, he led the team in tackles against Kansas City. He wears number 32. They don't give up a lot of big plays. They can do an excellent job of communicating. They see the field. They read the quarterback. And Elijah Molden, the ex-Tennessee Titan, wearing number 2, very good player. The Raiders are going to come out with 12 personnel. That's if they're healthy. Brock Bowers played 31 snaps last week. Michael Mayer played 39. And Ian Thomas, the ex-Carolina Panther, played 20. He wears number 80. Mayer is a great story. He was a hell of a receiver at Notre Dame, second-round pick. He left the team last year for several weeks, had some personal issues to clean back, but I like the way he plays, man. He's a real tight end. He can pass protect, and he can run a lot of routes himself. Bowers is the key, obviously. Ashton Jeanty, Zamir White. It's this combination, I think, that they got to lean on and try to get some ball possession. They got to sustain some drives and pick up some occasional blitzes, but we're all excited to see the emergence of Ashton Jeanty, the number 6 overall pick. Those are your matchups. Raiders, Chargers. Let's get this on. Well, you got to pick somebody in this rivalry. I know the Chargers had a great win against the Kansas City Chiefs in Brazil. And I know the Raiders, they got a lot of injuries, it sounds like, and the Chargers got a heck of a football team. But there's no way I would ever bet against my silver and black Raiders. 23, Chargers 21 on a Daniel Carlson walk-off, baby. Let's go, Raider Nation. Love you guys. Miss you guys. Good luck.